You can subscribe to something, it doesn't mean it's going to work. You can move to the cloud, it doesn't mean it's going to work. You can buy the new UCaaS, or the new call center suite, or the new application, or the new CRM, whatever you want to buy. I'm sure it's capable of lots of things, but when you buy it from a vendor, you're not necessarily getting the demo.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Incident Report presented by Quest Technology Management. I'm Paul Burke, Director of Technology Communications. Every week, I'm joined by VP of Sales and Partnerships, Adam Burke. The Incident Report brings you conversations with thought leaders, business innovators, and channel mavericks to help you stay productive and agile in a changing technology landscape. Hey everybody, welcome to the Incident Report. It is Tuesday, episode 21. Glad you're here. Adam, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Paul, and just want to celebrate episode 21, the legal drinking age for the podcast. Really exciting. Really excited to be here.
Adam, our podcast could walk into any bar and get a drink. But first, we have some stories to talk about. And I don't want to bury the lead. Adam, pretty exciting news. Channel Vision awarded Quest Channel Program of the Year. That is big. I would love for you to share a little bit about our channel program. Let people know what's happening there.
It was pretty exciting to get Channel Partner Program of the Year award. We've been building our partner program since 2010, so coming up on 12 years of supporting and growing within the channel. And really, this recognition of a lot of hard work from folks on the team around supporting our partners. And, Quest has partners nationally and internationally that we help to augment services and technology services that they don't necessarily have within their current footprint. We've been building this. We have the ability to support our partners and their clients, both nationally and internationally. We do services that some folks need help with, from everything from on-call technical support, getting people to the right place at the right time to help deliver the appropriate technology or skill sets, all the way through advanced, monitoring and managed services, managed security. Everything that Quest does, we have built a partner program around it to help our partners out in the channel. So very successful division and growing part of our company. It's how we've scaled across the nation in the last 12 years. Everything that we do, from helping organizations to acquire, provision, and deploy technology, to manage, support, and operate it, to develop applications, to respond to security incidents. Our partner program is our fastest and largest growing division of our company, and I think it was recognized by Channel Vision as adding a lot of value to the channel network and organizations out there trying to help their customers deliver capabilities.
And you're a pretty humble guy. You never mentioned yourself once in that, but you're a huge part of the channel thriving.
I've been involved, yeah. So myself and Gary Schick started the program with Tim's direction back in 2010 when I first came on board, and got the battle scars to prove it. But we learned about different partnership structures and the way that people like to put together, agreements and contracts, and have evolved with the channel as a service provider. And I think we're a pretty unique delivery partner there. A lot of our core beliefs and what Quest believes as a company are pretty unique. We view the opportunity to help partners and customers from a building block and incremental approach. We don't necessarily lead in with a specific solution set. It's more along the lines of, hey, where can we help you achieve what you're trying to do? That makes us pretty unique in the partner world as well. We treat partners and clients and end users and consumers of what we do in the same vein. Hey, as a partner, what are you looking to deliver? Listening to what they're trying to achieve first before trying to jam a product offering or a specific solution set into the situation has, built a lot of trust in the channel. And when I say the channel, I'm talking about agents out there, independent brokers, representatives, other VARs, people like that. It's a small world. Everybody kind of knows everybody, or at least a couple of degrees of separation. So, trust is huge, and you got to execute and do what you say you're going to do. And I think we've been successfully doing that, coming up on 12 years now.
You mentioned all the battle scars and the growing that it took to achieve success in the channel. And I'm curious, when you and Gary began, did you approach those first few days with a listen first mindset, or is that something you grew into?
Yeah, so listening first and kind of having that business outcome conversation is pretty key to how we engage as a whole at Quest. But it's funny. I found an old PowerPoint slide that was on, two versions of our logo and branding, look and feel. So that old leading the evolution branding. I don't know if you remember that. That was back in the 2009, 2010. It was a totally different look and feel. But I put together this little chart, and it was funny. I was just going to find, 50 partners within the first 3 months, and, position 50 managed service agreements and scale up. And I think it took me 2 or 3 years to get, one of our first substantial managed service agreements across the goal line with the channel partner, just because it takes time to build credibility and time to build, trust around, hey, I'm going to bring you into a client opportunity. And who are these guys talking managed services? And I've historically sold gear. I've historically sold telecommunications or data center. Like, what are you guys talking about? Security, hardware, software, firewalls. How do you manage that? It took a lot of time to build that credibility. And it really was just, sticking with it and pursuing opportunities where partners were willing to, give us a shot and introduce us to a client that was looking for help.
That's a great point. It takes patience. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. You mentioned it took 2 to 3 years before you got the first one over the goalposts.
Yeah, and just going for it. Like I was laughing at myself with that slide, right? But that slide around, hey, I'm going to find 50 partners and I'm going to find 50 managed service deals, and then by the third quarter I'll find another 50. But you got to go for it. You got to pick up the phone and call people. You got to go to the events. You got to go to meet the folks out there and learn about the industry. And I don't know, I think there's a goofy saying. I'm probably going to screw it up, but it's like the fool always precedes the savior, something like that. And basically, it's an old Western idea of hey, you got to be an idiot first before you can be a master. And not that we're anywhere close to being masters, but you definitely got to give it a shot and be okay looking like an idiot if you're going to do anything worthwhile.
So it's interesting, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners have pieced this together by this point that Adam and I were brothers, and we approach things very differently. Adam, truthfully, I'm somebody who overthinks a lot. I am always overthinking things and trying to plan things. And you, and I admire this, you are a man of action. You go for it. You're like, I'm going to go get those 50 today. And you go and do that. And I'm like, well, we should probably plan at least a couple more months.
Yeah, I think I could use the balance. There's always a good balance, right? Having a good plan before jumping into a scenario can save you a lot of broken bones, scar tissue on your face, or any other stories we could go into on a different podcast. But yeah, you do get to understand very quickly what works and what doesn't, and then you adjust and keep rolling.
That's a great point. And that's why, Adam, my bones remain intact and my skin remains scar free because I'm sitting back planning. You're out there making moves, which, again, I admire a lot.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention, we didn't just get Channel Program of the Year, we got Innovation and Digital Transformation of the Year with Channel Vision. That's a huge award.
Yeah. We applied for that one. That was a really cool project. It was a project that actually came through a channel partner of ours around a pretty significant application development effort where we helped an organization put together a front end reporting system for a lot of their credit evaluation and projections for a pretty substantial auto lending organization. Did a lot of user experience engineering, so a bunch of UI UX, and also it started out with just a small SQL engagement, like helping them evaluate their SQL instance and some tables and some queries that were going on, and help them to automate that and improve it. And that just, like we talk to our partners all the time, huge opportunities in application development, massive need for folks who can deliver. And Quest is an agile shop, and we do sprints and we do constant updates and daily reviews and scrum sessions with our partners and our customers to making sure we're building in the right direction. And those are fantastic projects. And we were able to put a summary together for the Digital Innovation and Digital Transformation Award. And that we got selected for that one too, which was really cool.
And it all began with SQL databases.
Yeah, they had a SQL database and some queries that weren't functioning the way they wanted them to. So they asked us to come in and do database assessments, right? So we'll help clients, that are having issues with different database applications, and we'll come and take a look, make recommendations, and let them know how they can improve things. And that's database and tables and queries and those types of things are so key to application performance. It's usually a good first step in our relationship with a client, getting to know what type of data that they're evaluating and what's important to them and their client. And it's a good kind of entree to seeing if there's other ways we can help from an application and a DevOps standpoint. It's a win-win type of scenario.
Yeah, and so much of those wins just come from constantly checking in and asking, "Hey, how can we help? Is there anything else you need?"
Yeah, and that's something that, we're always focused on from a value standpoint, and this is something that we want to always make sure, are we adding value to the situation, and does our customer understand that we can assist here? Because there's so much noise and chatter in the industry. Something we're always really cautious of is effectively communicating, yeah, we can help here, and here's an example of how we've done that in the past. We started a SQL database issue and progressed all the way through an end user experience, Java integrated app.
Effective communication. That is so important. I'm glad you highlighted that. Speaking of highlighting, we wanted to talk about an article that we found on channelfutures.com. Link is in the description if you want to read the full article. It's about hyperscalers. Hyperscalers continue to consolidate what MSPs must know. MSPs need to leverage industry-specific knowledge to carve out specialty niches. The three big hyperscalers today, Amazon AWS, Google GCP, and Microsoft Azure, loom large over the cloud market. Already with a combined market share of 64%, they collectively continue to expand their presence by about 1 percentage point per quarter. Let's look at the three biggest challenges and opportunities the expanding cloud market holds for MSPs. Finding the next niche. There's an increasing competition among the three hyperscalers over control of the retail market. To stay competitive in this new environment, MSPs will need to figure out how to leverage industry-specific knowledge. Savvy MSPs must remember that hyperscalers are excellent infrastructure providers capable of landing retail giants like Walmart and Walgreens. At the same time, however, they're too big to waste their time looking for small and medium-sized businesses in the $50 million range. As most MSPs can serve companies of this size comfortably, they should find ways to deepen their expertise and carve out deeper niches. Adam, what do you think about that point?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. So we just actually had a pitch from a vendor today. We've been a reseller for 40 years, so we resell all sorts of different types of technology, and we're also a cloud service provider, an MSP, MSSP, right? So we provide services from a managed services standpoint, from a cloud standpoint. So we have hooks into AWS, we have hooks into Azure. We deal with the hyperscalers from an MSP standpoint. Something that's always in the pitch, and I don't know, I'm not quite sure why, but they talk about it. They talk about this article here, right? They're talking about retail giants like Walmart and Walgreens. Well, there are MSPs and there are organizations that service hundreds of organizations that fall into that 50, 100, 200, $300 million range that, there's a huge need in the middle market and in the SMB market to actually deliver a solution with the hyperscalers and the cloud or a hybrid version of it. It's not always, massive lift and shift opportunities. It's not always, the huge $1 billion deal. Everyone likes to talk about the $1 billion deal. Everyone likes to talk about the Jedi contract with, depending on who's in the Oval Office, it either goes to Azure or AWS because of Wall Street Journal articles, all that kind of shenanigans goes on. Those are all fun to talk about, but in our industry, we support organizations that need help, and the hyperscalers are moving compute and storage and subscription services, actually making things operate and actually making things function in the cloud isn't part of their service level agreement. Their job is to have compute, storage, connectivity, and services up and available. Actually having the application function, actually having it perform, actually having it available to, do what's required for the business, that takes integration work. It goes back to our conversation last week around Chuck Robbins telling everybody that, your clients are tired of being system integrators. That's the same for Azure and AWS. They're not going to integrate that work. They're not going to provide a service level agreement that, hey, your application is secure, Within the cloud? No, the cloud's secure from their perspective, right? If you manage your access control appropriately to your Office 365 environment, if you enforce multi-factor authentication, yeah, you could be secure, but Microsoft's not signing on the dotted line saying you're covered, right? So you really have to, there's a huge opportunity for organizations to help in the SMB in the medium market space, securing the cloud, managing it, helping with the actual capability. Like how is this workload actually going to perform once it's moved to a cloud environment? Everyone likes to talk about the big deals.
Yeah.
I like talking about the big deals. It's all fun, but the big deals aren't paying your mortgage, right? And the big deals aren't, and when you're talking to a customer, the big deals aren't helping your business, Mr. Customer. Like, so what are you actually trying to achieve? And how is the cloud actually going to do that for you? Huge opportunity to help identify that.
It's like everybody wants to show you the clip of the half court shot, but the free throws, when you're getting 23 throws a game, that's probably going to determine the game, not necessarily the half court shot.
Fantastic analogy. Also, everyone likes to watch the game. No one necessarily wants to put in the practice and the discipline it takes to even make it to the game. Even on the small aspect of it, like tons of people, our industry is full of people who can talk. The actual people who are in the game or in the arena doing the work, not quite as many folks there. One of the reasons our channel program is really, really successful, we were at an industry event a couple of weeks ago, and everyone was talking about the big deal again. It's an agent group. We're all sitting there talking. Every vendor that goes up there is talking about the big deal and sell my kit because it'll be the biggest MRR. Sell my UCaaS solution because it's huge, monthly reoccurring revenue for your top line. That's all great. That's all happy talk and great. Gary got up there the other day and he didn't rain on the parade, but he said, hey, all this stuff's great. All these widgets, all these bolt-ons, they're all fantastic. If you actually need someone to come in here and help you make it work and help you execute on delivering the capability you think you're going to get by subscribing to this software, we're your partner to help you do that. And we've been gentle about saying that in the past, but I think with how complex, software and annual contracts and subscriptions and SaaS and APIs are getting, we've learned that, no, we need to be pretty direct about that. You can subscribe to something. It doesn't mean it's going to work. You can move to the cloud. It doesn't mean it's going to work. You can buy the new UCaaS, the new call center suite, or the new application, or the new CRM, or whatever you want to buy. I'm sure it's capable of lots of things, but when you buy it from a vendor, you're not necessarily getting the demo, right? You're getting the building blocks, and you still need someone to come help you build the house. Or at the end of the day, you have a bunch of drywall, nails, and lumber stacked on a lot, and you're not quite sure what's all there. So that's where we really are getting very, very direct with folks around the idea of if you need help operationalizing this and putting it together, that's where we typically like to help.
So a couple of things. One, Adam, today, let's be honest, we are on our metaphor game. This is top shelf metaphors going on. We're talking about drywall. We're talking about basketball. Everybody can understand what we're talking about. This is top tier, Adam.
It's a little later in the day, and I might be a little bit more raw, but I agree. Yeah, this is the metaphors are flowing pretty hot today for a Monday afternoon.
It reminds me of the kid who has just one more metaphor, and then I promise one more metaphor, and that's it. It's like the kid who gets Legos and is trying to build the set and looks at the picture and is like, well, it doesn't look like that. That looks amazing. This Lego set did not turn out like that at all.
Yeah, it could be like Legos. It could be like, hey, this is not quite exactly what I saw in the demo. And it's nothing against, software or subscription providers. It's not to talk poorly of them. I got off a software demo, before we started, recording today. You got to tell a story and you got to paint a picture for the client. What we like to do, and there's a term called trusted advisor that's in the industry right now, right? You have to build that credibility that this is what you get out of the box, right? And this is how you progress to the capability. You have all the parts and pieces, but actually getting there to that picture that's on the Lego box, that takes maybe a little bit more work than you think.
Do you think anybody ever put untrusted advisor on a business card? That would be a terrible business move.
I don't think anyone has put on their business card untrusted advisor. I think there's some multi-level marketing folks that I could put you in touch with if you wanted some untrusted advisors.
Why can't I get any work? I have this wonderful business card that says I'm an untrusted advisor. It's embossed. It's beautiful, but nobody wants to hire me.
I'm actually listening to the Charles Mitsrahi show right now. It's also another podcast called The American Alpha Investor. Great dissection of multi-level marketing. If anyone else is looking for a podcast, that's a lot of fun. He does a really good job of going through the multi-level marketing shenanigans along the untrusted advisor framework. If you're looking for that one, Paul.
Oh, great. I need a good podcast.
Yeah.
I've been listening to a lot of Audible books recently. Adam, question for you. This is kind of unrelated, but I'm curious, and listener, I'm curious what you think too. When you listen to an Audible book, do you tell somebody, I read this book? Or do you say, I listened to this book?
I'll say I listen to it.
Okay.
Yeah, I say I listen to it.
I feel like that's a very important thing to do. I feel, Adam, good on you.
Yeah,
Good on you, Adam.
It's intellectually dishonest to be like, yeah, I was reading *Sapiens*. No, you weren't. You were not reading *Sapiens*. You listened to it on podcast like everybody else when you're sitting in traffic, driving down the 680, trying to get to your job. Shut up. You did not read *Sapiens*.
Okay, so getting back to this article, it also mentions MSPs must switch their revenue mindset. Today's MSPs evolved out of the value-added resellers who made their profits from reselling technology products. However, the days of wholesaling computer monitors and LAN networks are long gone. Over the past decade, VARs have evolved into managed service providers by offering IT services, including the integration, management, and support of IT products. This has allowed them to generate recurring revenue beyond the margins from reselling hardware or technology alone. But with the ongoing market shifts, it's time for the next big stage of MSP development. Cloud infrastructure marketplaces have emerged, and the big three also invest in a direct-to-consumer sales strategy. As a result, MSPs need to change their mindset from focusing on reseller margins to leveraging the multipliers that the big three cloud providers offer. But how can they gain a greater share of that business?
Yeah, that was basically a really polite way of saying that the big three are putting together marketplaces and acquiring ISVs to cut out the middleman, right? So it's a trend we've seen before. It's disintermediation, and if you're building a business based on resale only or pass and paper, if you will, you're eventually, you're going to get cut out. This article is basically calling out that people need to evolve once again. It's happened, right? You went from drop shipping and, making margin on hardware transactions to, doing more of a subscription base. We talked about this a few episodes back. Clients consume subscription-based services. Now that model is emerging as well, and subscription-based services are being put on these, workspace, direct-to-consumer marketplaces, right? So that's the next iteration. Nothing new. You still need to figure out how you're going to add value. One of the ways that, Quest and our teams put that together is we help with the actual integration and putting those services in operational state. The Home Depots, the Lowe's shoppers, if you will, buy a lot of stuff, but there's still a huge contractor industry out there of people who, after they screw up their sink remodel or their bathroom remodel and need someone to come in and help put it together for them, or just help them with one piece of it. That's a big part of the opportunity out there for folks who are still trying to help people get things done.
And finally, Adam, the bottom line, according to this article, MSPs should recognize they're an essential part of the ecosystem. This means they should focus on what they excel at, which is building closer customer relationships and offering a range of cloud and other technologies tailored to the needs of the specific industries. Adam, what do you think? Thoughts, wisdom, insight, go.
The idea of specializing in different verticals is definitely a strategy out there. The gentleman who wrote this article, represents a services distributor firm, right? So he comes from distribution. Not that he's talking his own book here, but a little bit of talking his own book in the sense that, like, hey, they enable the mass subscription of supporting MSPs, and one way to help his market succeed is by coaching them up on this transition. I think he works for Cloud Blue, which is I believe is a division of Ingram. So that's, it makes sense. Totally makes sense what he's saying here as far as helping MSPs transition to that subscription and value added integration.
Adam, I know I say this a lot, but I appreciate the insight you bring to these pieces. I walk in with articles and you're like, hey, think of it this way, and it helps a lot.
Well, Paul, I am often wrong, but I am never in doubt. So you got that going for you.
Hey, that's, again, we're very different. I am full of doubt. So I have a lot to learn from your approach of life, Adam.
Yeah, good stuff.
Well, thanks for joining me today, Adam. I appreciate it. We'll be back next week, episode 22. I hope everybody stays safe for 4th of July.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Have a great week. And I think next Monday is the 4th, so we'll probably be off. So everyone have a great 4th of July, celebrating the greatest country in the history of the world. And have a good week, everybody.
Bye. Thanks so much for listening. The Incident Report is brought to you by Quest Technology Management. With over 40 years of experience, Quest is a leading technology integrator working seamlessly with your staff and systems to achieve your IT goals. Learn more about everything they do at questsys.com. And if you have questions or suggestions for the podcast, you can always email Adam and myself at theincidentreport@questsys.com. We hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next time.